Right, Lennox joins us now. Welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you here, isn't it?
We'd sometimes do a trail when we finished this show on a Friday about who's coming on next week. And we did it last week, and we were like, Annie Lennox!
We had to record it again because we were a little bit starstruck.
So we're so thrilled you're here.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be with you guys.
This,
you know?
we were just looking at it, is the most beautiful book because it's a book full of love, you can tell already. You've curated it yourself. But it's also, it's almost like a time capsule.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking back at just, and so it's called Retrospective. Why now? Why did you want to do it now?
Well, it's been a while, you know. Like you say, I have lived for a few decades now through creativity and making music. And I never made a book. And I wanted to, but it was never the time.
Yeah.
Because as you can see with this output of so much content, you know, making videos, writing, recording, going on tour, performing, doing interviews, there's such a lot behind the scenes that people don't actually understand.
Yeah.
They see the finished product.
Yeah.
And so I realised that there's probably 20,000 or more infinite images out there in the zeitgeist. And I kind of just wanted to bring some of them together. But you're right, like in this process of making the book, I could see my own life, you know, obviously, through creativity in every page that you turn there. But it's also a connection for everybody in a funny sort of way because we've all, especially my generation, we've been through those decades, 70s, 80s, 90s, to the noughties, whatever we want to call it. And it is a bit of a time capsule.
That's the lovely thing, because as soon as I opened it, you know, and I'm a couple of years older now, but we're the same generation. As soon as I opened it, I just went, you know, you see great pictures and go, I remember that. What was I doing then? I was a kid then, and the 80s music is so sort of elemental to your upbringing.
Right.
I think what's incredible about it is when you think now, everything's photographed all the time, right?
Yes.
But actually, you go back to the 80s, and you're so lucky to have so much reportage of just you know, I've seen pictures of you in an airport, you in a hotel room.
We were lucky.
And obviously, you were photographed, but there's so much more than you think there's going to be in here.
It's funny because we went into digital around the 90s, you know, when it was instant downloading, and you're quite right. To make the artwork, to make these album covers, everything was cut and paste, you know, physically. And there was so much detail went into it all that you can do now instantaneously. But I feel very privileged and very fortunate as a creative person, exactly what you said, that we were able to sort of, everything you do goes down on record and it lives with you. If you're going to have a long career, it's going to be there whether you love it or hate it, you know. And I think what we did as Eurythmics was of a high standard because we had a high goal about... We weren't trying to be famous. It wasn't about that. We weren't trying to be pop stars. We were trying to present excellence. Yeah. That was what we tried to do, you know. And whenever we did something, we were on to the next. So we never had time. This is called retrospective. We never had time to be retrospective. Yeah. So this gave me an opportunity to kind of sink back and think, what did we do? What did I do? Who, you know? And I'm actually, I would say that I'm really proud of it. I have to say, I am. I am proud of it.
And what memories, like, resonate with you the most when you look at that? What memories are the memories that you find really healing and you enjoy the most?
Oh, my. Well, of course, I know all the situations for all the videos that we made. And, you know, a lot of it was just by the skin of our teeth. Yeah. And I think everything was almost like a miracle that it ever happened. And it is hard to nail, from such an outpouring, it's hard to nail, like, one thing. But, of course, Sweet Dreams is so iconic. Yeah. It really is. And there it is, you know, there it is, this... Oh, obviously called it up.
You're not imagining that. That's happening right now.
Just say the name.
It's not in your head.
But, yeah, I mean, that was the standard was to make something that would last. Yeah. And something that would be classic, that you could see that it didn't date. And I don't know how or why we managed to do it, but I think it's interesting seeing what was made back in the day with different resources. I mean, Dave, on that video of Sweet Dreams, he's working on supposed to be a computer, you know, and it's actually it's a prototype. It's got a wooden frame around it. And we're sitting there in a supposedly it's like a, what do we call it? Blank, blank, blank. A boardroom with all the discs around, and a cow comes in. So the surrealist aspect of that, and seeing, I don't know if you can find it, but if you see the picture of us two sitting there in that completely surreal circumstance and thinking, how the hell Dave thought of it all up, but how did we manifest it?
Yeah.
How did it happen, you know?
And it was always like it was meant to be, which is so incredible.
Yeah.
I've got to say, your clothes were iconic. Did you have the complete overall input on all the clothes that you used to wear?
I tried, you know, because back in the day, you know, when you have a very small budget, most of my clothes, when I was a kid and growing up into my 20s, most of my clothes were second-hand. Yeah. And, you know, in the 70s, in the punk era, we were really sort of living through that at the time. Everything was like you stripped it back to, you know, you wore holes and everything was wild and different and rough. And, you know, what we did was, like, we kind of moved with the times. So we never, not deliberately, but it was because we wanted to evolve and we never wanted to repeat ourselves. So one time we'd come out with one album, like In the Garden, was the first Eurythmics album, very experimental, very electronic, you know. And then we moved from that towards Sweet Dreams. We were really like, OK, what is it going to be? And we created Sweet Dreams, and then I didn't even know that Sweet Dreams, obviously, I didn't have a clue, because we had very little in those days. Yeah. And we'd had 3 albums out with the previous group, the Tourists, and we had a lot of failure in that, and some success, but then we were left with a debt and nothing when we signed up with Eurythmics, and the record company were going to drop us. And I think that's the best bit of the story of my life, is that everything is, well, you said you think it looked like it was meant to be, but you never knew, because it looked like nothing was ever going to happen. And you had to be creative. And with my clothes, going back to that, there weren't such a thing as a stylist or a big budget. I mean, we got to big budgets after a while, but I always wanted to be autonomous. And
it was quite androgynous, wasn't it? Your look was.
Well, at certain points, yes. And then I developed, sometimes I would present, like, in There Must Be an Angel. It's a very feminine, you know, I was playing with the feminine stereotypes in a way, and just kind of trying to present something of a different take, you know, like the way I saw it.
It's funny, because we think of the 80s in many ways as so polished and coutured, and actually what I love about it is actually a lot of it is necessity breeds invention, right? So, and so many of your generation, that post-war generation, brought up on the bootstraps, like the Spandau Ballet Boys used to play in bomb holes in the East End of London. Do you know what I mean?
We did too. We did all the circuit. We did the clubs and the pubs, and we did the
Blitz
small
Club
theatres. And one time we supported Roxy Music, and we thought that was the epitome of, you know, amazingness, which it was at the time. And we earned our stripes. Yeah. We really, really did.
It was a graft, absolutely.
Yeah, it was hard graft.
Do you know what? In this book, you're going to feel that hard graft, because it's absolutely beautiful. Annie Lennox retrospective is out now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so pleased.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.